Hi, welcome to the Conscious Eating Summit. I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Kroll. I'm super excited to have with me my friend and colleague, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. Dr. Gabrielle is a functional medicine physician specializing in muscle-centric medicine. Thank you so much for joining me today, Gabrielle.
Hi, thanks for having me. So should I say that we were chatting about this prior?
Yeah. Can you share with our viewers just a little bit more about your work, what you specialize in, and why you're so passionate about it?
I would love to. Let me sum it up by saying this. I'm the doctor that the other doctors go to. I'm the doctor that the elite military operators seek out, and I'm the doctor that people go to after seeing between 6 and 12 other doctors. So essentially, I get it done, whatever it is. And Nancy and I were talking, and really, when you think about what I do, and I could tell you all about my academics, and I could tell you that I practice something called muscle-centric medicine, where muscle is the organ of longevity, which it is, and how my practice is really focused on protein and metabolism. I think what's more relevant is that we talk about kind of the mindset of medicine. So 50% of what I do is medicine, of course, right? Probably more. But the other 50% of what I do is really medicine of the mind. So it is shifting from where you are to become that ultimate person that you want to be. And that is critical in terms of medicine. So I bet you weren't expecting that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll be a little bit transparent here. This really evolved from a breakdown that I had a few days ago in my own health. And I was at least clever enough to realize I was losing my own mindset. Like I knew I needed accountability. And who do I go to? But Gabrielle, right? And so, that kind of inspired us to realize that, more people need to hear about this. I mean, no matter who you are or where you're at in your health journey, whether you're, a professional like us helping others, or maybe you're just at the beginning stages of your health journey, your mindset is huge, and you can have a breakdown no matter where you're at in that journey. And yeah, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. So really you can talk yourself into or out of anything. Mm-hmm. And what I see in my clinic is that we have a lot of stories and things that we tell ourselves. Our hormones are off. We have a parasite. You have heavy metals, Hashimoto's. I have some operators that have lost a limb. And there's all these stories that you can say, whether they're true or not true. It's not about the stories. It's really about executing the plan. And you can get in your own way. And if you do that, you're going to get from point A to point B, right? Yeah, you have to do the nutrition. Yes, you have to execute the supplements. But if you are coasting and it's easy, you're probably not doing the right thing. If this was no effort, if your is no effort and it's easy, then you're also probably not doing the right thing, because we tend to shy away from the things that are hard, right? And we distract ourselves. I mean, this is a conscious eating summit. So when we think about conscious eating, I know if I am, and I'm pretty crazy. My friends and my patients will tell you that if I'm going to overeat something, I'll probably eat an extra pound of beef, whatever. That's crazy. But it's not necessarily what you're eating.
I want to say that she just turned off her beef before getting on this video.
I pack my hot plate, we're all in alignment with these things that are true. But it's about, what are you executing? So what is the thought before the action? And it can be a distraction. So you can be thinking about how sick you are, how you're not feeling well, or you can be avoiding the work that you have to do. And so you're going to eat, right? Or you can create a habit or do a thing that is not going to serve you to really move you towards your highest purpose, but it will become a distraction. So essentially in healing, you have all these stories. So yes, you might be sick, and yes, you might be tired. You might be all of these things, but it's about dropping the story, getting shit done, excuse my French, and knowing that it is effort and you should suffer. There is a component of suffering, because it's within that suffering that you can actually move to the next level, right? So a breakdown does happen before you get better.
Yeah, there's always a breakdown before a breakthrough. When you were saying all this, I'm going to be vulnerable and share that earlier this year, I found out that I had a parasite, and I got it in Mexico. And I went through a breakdown process around this. And it's funny because I was able to experience for myself what I often see in my clients, right? So it was more of like the shock. And then I wanted to then control, right? Because you kind of go into a panic and then you constrict around it and you want to fix it and you want to fix it immediately. And then, I had the awareness, like, that's not even where healing happens. Like, healing doesn't happen in this mindset, right? But I went through the whole process around it. And when we have these things that happen in our health, if we're able to, like, as you're saying, drop the story and just take every experience as feedback. So, like, it's neutral. Like, me finding out I have a parasite, neutral, right? It's not good or bad. I mean, on some level it's bad, but, like, if I take it as neutral, then I'm able to, say, go through the plan and do the things that need to be done in order to, heal that aspect of myself. But as long as I'm stuck in that victim story, I think that's where it all kind of just falls apart.
Right. And what did I tell you when you called me and you were like, oh my God, Gabrielle, I have this? What did I say to you?
I don't know. You totally just, like, blew it off. You're like,
that's what I said to you. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah. You're like, good. Yeah. And you're like, that's fine. It's whatever.
So
it'll be fine. And, honestly, that's kind of what you need to, like, I don't want to curse, but that's kind of what you need to hear. Right. Like, or at least I did, because it was that moment of, like, okay, well, I'm not a failure here. Like, here I am, whatever. And it's completely manageable. It's fixable. Everything's figure outable or whatever, Yeah, and I think the mindset component when it comes to health is the make it or break it, because I don't know about you, or I think you're on the same page, because you just shared, you get these clients or patients that have been, suffering for years and years and years, and you end up somewhat being a last resort. Yeah, their mindset by that point is almost at a tipping point. Like, they could go either way, right? They're either, like, they're about to jump off the bridge because they've tried so many things and failed. And it is really important to be able to have that positive mindset and know that it's going to be okay, right?
Absolutely. And I don't even make them be positive. I tell them to stop the story. That's my responsibility to get them better, and their responsibility is to execute. Their responsibility is to not make anything worse than it is, because everything actually has a lesson. So if you had not gotten sick, and by the way, I've had my own parasites. Anything that I've dealt with my patients, aside from, I don't know, some of the erectile dysfunction, I've experienced, I've been really sick in multiple periods of time in my life, without a doubt. And it has allowed me to be able to really understand my people. And if I hadn't had those experiences, I wouldn't. So the concept of just trying to feel better, you just want to feel better. You do, and you execute actions to feel better. And if this doesn't work, then you move on to the next. But you don't tell yourself, I feel so terrible, I feel so terrible, I feel so terrible over and over again, right? Because you become what you think about, you truly do.
Yeah.
So for example, I travel all the time. Sometimes I don't feel well, but I'm still traveling every weekend, speaking or attending this or doing whatever I have to do. Some days I'm on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. That's brutal. So I could sit and say to myself, wow, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And that could be my narrative. Mm-hmm. But it's instead, all right, this is cool. I got this. You can do anything for a short period of time. I'm tired. I'm going to put my nerdy glasses on and some headphones, and I'm going to think about how I'm just relaxed. And I'm just going to coast. So the end result doesn't have to be, you don't have to add injury. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your experience. You had to take some medications, you had to take some herbs, but you didn't have to, you or anybody else doesn't have to create a story about it. Right. Nancy and I were talking about, well, should we talk about protein, animal versus plant, the positive benefits of protein? All that stuff is great and it's important, and you should all download my protocol because you all should be eating protein and you all should be working out and doing resistance training. But if this isn't right, I don't care what you do, because that's only going to be short lasting, right? So you in every moment have to be the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
In every response to a thought and every response to an action, you have to ask yourself, am I being the person that I ultimately want to be?
I think it's a huge, I mean, I think it's one of the biggest things. In Oriental medicine, they have the tiers of health, right? And I don't remember all of them, but number one is right thinking. So basically the principle is, if you don't have right mind, right? If you don't have that mindset, all of the other things, the acupuncture, the herbs, the, you know, the qigong or whatever, isn't going to impact the health of the individual. And I think that, I mean, I've seen it time and time again between clients that have the victim mentality versus clients that do not, that are able to stay open.
Right.
The clients that stay in the victim mentality definitely do not get better. Or
Totally.
if they do, it's not as significant.
Totally. And you have to address the mindset of medicine, right? So the only other thing you do more than breathe is think. Or chew gum if you're me. But really, the only other thing that people do more than breathe is think.
I have a question for you. Do
Yes,
you have any sort of
really chew gum.
What?
I do really chew gum.
You do?
Is that your question?
No, but that isn't that good for your digestion. But do you have any morning practices that you do to help your, you know, right mind?
I do. Before I even get out of bed, I meditate. I do that for 20 minutes. By the time my feet hit the ground, I caffeinate. I turn on my Juve light, if you've ever seen the Juve light, the red full body panel. Mm. And then I start going through 3 things that I'm grateful for. My plan of attack for the day, right? So what are the things that I need to accomplish? What are the goals? Who am I seeing? What is my mission focus, right? So how am I laser dialed into the things that need to be accomplished? And that whole thing takes about 35 minutes. And then I'm out the door.
Yeah, I think it makes a huge impact. I can definitely tell the difference between the mornings that I abruptly get up and have to like stumble out of bed to take care of my son and get him to school versus the mornings when I actually have my morning ritual, which is very similar: meditation, gratitude, and envisioning my day, because it highly impacts the rest of your day.
I couldn't agree with you more. And then I have a closing aspect of my day. So I use the full panel red light. I do. If you haven't tried it, everyone should try it. It's
so wait, I'm actually not familiar with this light. Is this for the SAD or is this infrared?
No. So it is a photo biomodulation. So it is infrared light, a red infrared light panel. And there's a ton of great data about it in terms of mitochondria and skin regeneration. I use it for...
So it's for your circadian rhythm.
I don't use it for my circadian rhythm. I probably do that. I use it for tissue regeneration from my multiple sporting injuries.
Okay.
But, you know, and we're exposed to the lights inside, not necessarily exposed to the lights outside. And it's supposed to be amazing for all of those things. It's essentially like getting nutrients, the external nutrients that we don't get from being inside.
What is it called again?
A Joovv, Joovv light.
Interesting. I'll have to look it up.
I'll send you some info about it. It's good. And I do that, and I shut my day down, and I think about what I write, what I could have done better. So where did I fall short? And where did I fail? Because we all fail in our day. We all fall short, whether we lose our temper or maybe I was distracted, whatever it was, or I was rude at someone. You know, the big thing for me is I find myself rude back to somebody on the subway because I don't know if you've been to New York, but everyone is really frowning and moody. And, you know, I don't necessarily have to buy into that culture, although sometimes it gets me, right? Yeah. Pushing and getting. And so anyway, at the end of the day, I think about the 3 other things that went well. And then I think about 3 or 4 or whatever things that I could make a 1% improvement. Because inevitably those things will repeat itself.
Yeah, like they're patterns.
Right. And so I think how can I with conscious awareness grow a little bit every day?
Yeah. I love that. You guys, you don't want a doctor or health coach or practitioner or whoever you're hiring to work with you that is not consciously growing and working on themselves constantly. You know,
Right.
It's huge.
And I think it's important because I think that, again, I'm very much into believing being the best version of oneself.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone were to ask me ultimately what I do in my practice, it's really about getting the best out of people. It's about having them drop whatever the thing that they think they couldn't become or couldn't do,
Mm-hmm.
and really having them level up. It's really about aligning what they feel, what they think, and then allowing that vessel to be able to perform exactly that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And the modality that I use is medicine. So the modality is medicine, but what I truly do is it's really about creating a vessel of freedom, physical freedom, so that they can then go and share their gifts.
Yeah. I've actually been contemplating this a lot recently about how this is going to be a little bit esoteric, so forgive me here. But so in Chinese medicine, Oriental medicine, basically all disease or all imbalances are rooted in a stagnation. And typically that stagnation is an emotion or belief that hasn't been fully expressed or you're holding on to. And it could be from early childhood or whatever. And really, on an esoteric level, the purpose of acupuncture and this type of medicine is to evolve the being to a higher state of consciousness before death. And so I've been contemplating about how when we have these imbalances that arise, they're only to like up level us essentially in our awareness and our consciousness. Because I don't know about you, but every time we kind of go through a process of a disease or imbalance, there's a depth of ourselves that we kind of come in contact with that we wouldn't have been able to touch if we had kind of stayed in that normal health state.
Totally agree. I totally agree. And I think what you're saying is very true. And having that, and I don't think that that's esoteric at all. And I think that especially with conscious eating, right? It's all about finding out where you're stagnant, and people go into these habits like eating and drinking and doing these things to actually avoid the pain of just going through and having the experience. So they end up wasting weeks, days, weeks, months running around doing the habit that is truly just a distraction.
Yeah.
And you know, when you talk about really fine tuning your health and moving to the next level, you have to know where you fail. So you have to know where your mistakes come in, know what your triggers are, and prepare for them because they're going to happen. So we're going into the holiday season. Know where you find yourself emotionally eating. Where do you find yourself drinking when you shouldn't? And knowing these things and planning for them in advance allows for success.
I love that. So Gabrielle, you kind of touched on what your free gift is, and her free gift is more of like the tangible to like amazing what you can start doing right now. Can you share with our viewers what that is?
So right now my free gift is the Lyon protocol, which I will be updating that shortly. Even more exciting, and when it's ready, I will send it to you for your people. I am creating with my business partner a craving survival guide. That deals with the mental aspect of medicine, right? Because you can have everything in place, but if you don't have it here, not going to be executing. But right now, what they do have available, and I recommend that they all go read it. It's super easy to follow, and it's the Lyon protocol, and it will give them a fundamental nutrition plan. They will definitely level up. They will lose weight. They will find that they're not craving much. And it's really the key. It's the key to health, the key to metabolism, key to weight loss, key to optimizing your body composition. And again, the key to muscle, which of course is the key to health.
Yeah, I definitely started eating more protein in the past year and a half.
And do you feel better?
I do feel better. Yeah, definitely feel better. What I was going to ask you about the other, the craving handout that you just offered.
Yes.
Should I just have them, do you want to have them email you for that, or do you want?
It'll be a while. They can also sign up on my website, and if they download the protocol when it's ready to go, I'll send it out.
Then I'll get that. Okay. So you guys can just click the link below and then you'll download the Lyon protocol, and then that will allow you to get this next craving ebook, or is it an ebook?
Survival book. Yes.
Yeah.
Survival
ebook next time. Awesome. So I have one more question for you, Gabrielle.
Yes.
If you could give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
Let's do this, baby.
Yeah.
Right. So before, people ask me that all the time, and oftentimes it's telling them that everything is going to be okay. So I'm assuming that I've already told my younger self everything is going to be okay. My second piece of advice would be go for it. Let's go for it. Go for it all.
Yeah.
And that's the advice I would give your people. Whatever it is that's burning inside of them, that they're either too shy or don't think they can do it, because you can.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what, is it Maya Angelou or whatever that quote is, that we're mostly scared of the strength. I forget what, it's beautiful and I'm totally butchering it right now, but it's something to the extent that we're mostly scared of like the strength and the light within ourselves more than, our failures. And I would say that's completely true. I feel like we dim our light so much because we're so concerned about other people. When in reality, we should just go for it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Totally agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that awesome conversation about mindset. I love it.
It's important, and again, we were talking about what are the other things that we could say and talk more about, but this part is just as valuable as knowing what to eat.
Yeah. It is. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. And I just want to thank all of our viewers for watching this interview. Make sure you check in tomorrow for the next one. Bye-bye.